Next on American Artist Road Trip, Jen's going to sit down with an artist who's taken a bite out of the literary world.
Oh, that was a bad one, Russ. I'm going to be sitting down with local artist and vampire detective novelist Mario Acevedo, so stay tuned.
His paintings are moody, colorful, full of life, and at times extremely engaging. His writing has been called quirky, erotic, and intelligent. But who is Mario Acevedo? Jen sat down with him recently for an informal chat. Let's find out what she dug up.
All right, hi, we're here in Denver, Colorado with Mario Acevedo. I wanted to welcome Mario and get to know him a little bit with all of you guys.
Thank you very much for the.
So Mario, my understanding of your work is it's got two different bodies, and one of which is painting.
Right.
So could you tell us a little bit about what inspires you?
Inspires me. I do a lot of urban landscapes, so I guess whatever captures my, a particular vista that captures what, it's one of those feelings that you get like, wow, that looks nice. I want to capture that. That's primarily what I go on.
So it's the urban landscapes of
Primarily.
Denver?
Urban landscapes wherever. I mean, if I'm in traveling somewhere else, I like to see that in the environment that people live. But I just happen to live here in Denver, so.
How long have you been living in Denver?
Almost 18 years.
18?
Oh no, I love Denver. Denver's a great city. It's a beautiful city. It's got a lot of good history to it, and it's got a lot of great people. A real supportive community, I found, and it'd be very hard for me to leave Denver.
And what brought you to Denver?
A job.
A job.
That went away.
And what was that job?
That job was working at Rocky Flats as an environmental engineer.
You. Did your job at Rocky Flats inspire you in your writing?
Definitely. The first book is called The Nymphos of Rocky Flats. So it has to do with an outbreak of nymphomania up in the plant. And my protagonist is a detective vampire who has to solve the mystery of what caused the nymphomania. So it's very much based on my experience. I mean, not the nymphomania, but the locale and all the nuttiness with the government secrecy and all that, with the conspiracy theories.
So then where does the nymphomania come from?
You gotta read the book. That's part of the history. I don't want to give it too much away. But it involves Roswell.
So Roswell, nymphomania, and an arsenal.
Yeah, the
Nuclear arsenal.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit more about your painting. Do you remember your first painting and painting your first painting?
Yeah, as a kid. Watercolors and stuff in school. And I used to do, I guess I wouldn't consider painting, but a lot of stuff with crayons. And I always loved art class. That was my favorite class of the day.
And
I remember my first art teacher, Mrs. Pennock.
Mrs. Pennock.
There in New Mexico.
Was she a good art teacher?
Yeah, she was a very good art teacher. Yeah. We used to do autumn leaves. I remember doing autumn leaves.
And drawing them or painting them?
Drawing them in crayons.
Well, so speaking of your youth, did you think that growing up in the 60s somehow influenced your painting and your creative kind of endeavors?
Yeah, urban landscapes for sure. I used to love the neon signs. Love the way they looked and the way they glowed at night, that hum that they put out, that sound. And I was always drawn to the neon because of that. That really looked pretty and stuff. And it was sad when they just let those things fall apart and they tore them down.
Yeah. Well, all of your urban landscapes that I'm so in love with have those neon signs, and they're always dark, and there is a moodiness that goes along with is very, I think, particular to you. Tell us a little bit about the differences for you in the creative process for each.
Well, the creative process, the big difference is the way that they're received by an audience, because people can look at a painting and I don't think they're quite as judgmental about looking at a painting as they are in writing. I mean, I'm in a critique group, and you're always submitting things, and you think you got it nailed, and you're constantly evaluating, I am, and you're constantly evaluating and reevaluating the written work that you do. Well, in my painting, it's not anywhere that doesn't. I don't feel anything like that at all, because I feel like I have a painting, and if it works, and most of the time, thankfully, I think they do. Once in a while they don't, and if they don't, then I don't show it. But on the writing, you can constantly rework it and trying to get it where you want. Where in a painting, I think a lot of artists, you don't want to rework something. You come up with an original design and you paint it, and then you come to a point and say, yeah, I like it, or it's not working. And if it doesn't work, then you just scrap it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that's a really big difference in the creative process.
Yeah. Do you think that there's a difference in the sense that writing, when you have a finished piece of writing,
Mm-hmm.
it is that's the permanent piece that you have, whereas painting, perhaps each particular painting is got its own permanence, but it's also a process. It's kind of like your body of work as a painter is always in evolution, and I guess that's the same for writing.
Yeah,
but
it is.
writing, when it hits the public, it's much more of, it has to be much more evolved than does maybe a painting.
I don't know. I mean, I think my paintings and my styles and what I look at are always evolving as well. The same with writing. I think that once you have that in both pieces, once they're out there in the public, then you can't retract them, right? You know, you got people see a painting and you can't tell the people, let me go fix that painting, and it's too late. They've already seen it. Same thing with writing. Once it gets published and it's out there, then you can't retract it.
Do you think it's a harder critique because people spend more time with a book than they might with a painting?
That's part of it. Yeah, that's part of it. And I think too that people can look at a painting and they don't really have that much invested in a painting as to whether or not they like it or not, because they can look at it, and if they don't like it, they can just turn away. Whereas with a written work, even something like a short story, I think it's a little more work. You have to read it, and reading a book can take hours and hours. You know, so you really want to keep somebody engaged over that longer period of time. I think is a lot trickier and more of a challenge.
Sure. They could really hate you if they hate your book.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, or throw it away and say, I can't believe I wasted this time.
Whereas a painting.
And a painting, and the other thing on a painting is that I guess somebody loves it, then they'll buy it.
Right.
Whereas in a book, it tends to be the other way around. People will buy it first, or borrow it first in the library or whatever, and then read it, and then make the decision whether or not they like it.
Yeah, there's a big difference between the two, I suppose. When you take a break from your painting, I guess you're probably writing during that time. How is it to get back into the painting?
I really love painting. I really do. I love creating that. There's just so much more that I still want to do that I don't know, and I want to try. And if I haven't painted for a while, I have a lot of art books, and I start looking through these art books. It starts to hurt me because I look at all this artwork, and I'm like, what am I doing? You know, what am I doing? So it kind of forces me to get back into it.
Do you think that when you're working creatively as painting, that helps your creativity as a writer?
I don't think so.
No?
No, they're just two different things.
How about vice versa?
No.
No?
No. I mean, I might in writing, I might reference something about painting or what I know, like the use of colors, or in that, because as a painter, you have to be your descriptiveness in use of colors shows right there, but you have to know what they are, and you have to know how you're going to use them. So when you write about them, I think that might help, because you can understand the process. You're not just saying, well, there's certain colors, because that you can apply. You rather know what those colors are, how they affect the light, and the description of that. So I think that helps. Improves your vocabulary, I suppose.
Yeah, it does. Cerulean blue.
Yeah, that's used quite a lot.
So what is your favorite color to use in your writing then? If you're gonna access it.
Oh, well, you talk about the skies a lot, and different colors of reds because of people's skin tones and that. So that's always
blood for the vampires.
Well, that's easy. You just say blood or blood red or crimson or whatever. But
I have seen that you have a blog and that you are really using social networking tools like Facebook to help promote yourself.
The blog that I have is called Biting Edge, and I share that with another writer named Jeannie Stein. And that's really about writing and about just our take on what's going on in the publishing world, mainly centered on urban fantasy. We use it primarily to report to report what's going on or to talk about other writers. Every once in a while we do talk, like we take a trip, we have a signing or something, but we've learned that if you just talk about yourself all the time, people get bored. So it's more interesting to talk about other people. So we use that as a way to promote other people. And we actually got an award as being one of the best vampire urban fantasy blogs out there.
How many of them are out there?
There's lots of them. But I think what helps us is that Jeannie and I are really consistent about posting. We each post once a week, so we have two new posts every week, and it's an effort. I mean, it might only be a few hundred words, but it takes me like 2.5 hours to do that blog. And she and I are really just, we have deadlines we impose on ourselves, and so Facebook has been. It's kind of interesting to understand how that works. It's a really good way to connect with people and to have your friends from different areas connect with each other and find out that you have a lot in common. And because I have writing friends from all over, and then I have my local arts people here, and I would just love to have a party where all of them come together, because I think they would go nuts. They would go nuts. They're all really great people. Then here's one of those favorite places there in Dallas, El Gallito Cafe Steaks, and that was a really nice place to go and take people with a kind of Mexican restaurant and stuff. It's changed hands. I haven't been there since the painting. This painting was done in '87. A long time, 23 years.
23 years ago, when I was a mere pup.
A mere pup. Okay. Here's another one, a mid-century one from Las Cruces, New Mexico. This is one of those signs that, as growing up as a kid, I used to see. And it's a very mid-century look to it. And of course, Las Cruces tore it down.
And where did you go? Las Cruces.
From Fresno. And this is a place that was a Mexican restaurant. And every once in a while I had to drive, and I'd drive behind it. And on the back side, this was more interesting than the front. Because you had a cinder block building, and they had this rusted sink, and you had this red door.
And would they hang out there?
No, I never saw anyone there. I just liked that, so I made a painting. Well, this woman, and I had the painting at the library, at the Denver Library. And there was a show there. This woman saw this painting, and her family owned this restaurant. And she said, for years as a kid, she would go up to this door. And she goes, never in her mind would she ever think that anybody would make a painting, an artwork of this. And her dad was actually retiring from the business, so they gave him a painting. And she bought the painting and gave it to him. So it was kind of interesting how they kind of connected with it.
Beautiful story.
Make sure you check out Mario's artwork and writing at marioacevedo.com. If you have any story ideas, feel free to email us at my email address, russ@write.org. And remember, art is a trip.
Oh, get him.
Hey!
Hey!
How are you guys?
What are you doing?
I am making bunless hot dogs. I think she wanted one more.
Make it. You're slinging.
Swinging. They're swinging.